And today I'm going to bring you my Magicka Nightblade AOE grinding build. If you guys missed the Stamina Nightblade AOE grinding build, that's going to be linked in the description. And if you play DK, Templar, or Sorc, I will cover those classes as well in the near future. Just stay patient and I'll have those videos up for you guys. So Magicka Nightblade AOE grinding is very similar to Stamina Nightblade. They use similar abilities and it's a similar style of grinding, just a few different touch-ups here and there, of course, because it's Magicka versus Stamina. So for this build, I'm just going to start it from scratch. Of course, when it comes to AoE grinding, if you can sustain yourself, the only things you have to focus on is your actual damage output. So for this setup, we're using a full spell damage setup, a complete full spell damage setup. So our armor sets, 2 Warm Cult for spell damage, 4 Martial Knowledge for spell damage, 2 Adroitness, 2 Cyrodiil's Light, 2 Taur's Pact Swords, and then a Master's Resto just for extra Magicka. Now this is a pretty extreme setup for spell damage. You don't have to do this. When it comes to grinding, you don't have to have like min-max stats. It really does not matter. The only reason I'm showing you this is because this is a setup that I use on my detonation builds, and it's easy because you guys already know these sets. Of course, you can use martial knowledge. You can use martial knowledge. You can use Magnus. You can use Seducer. Any Magicka set that's going to give you spell damage or recovery or max Magicka is going to help you grind as a Magicka Nightblade. Now, let's go into skills. From the assassination skill line, you're going to want all the passives, of course. And then for your stam regen and not spell damage, but damage buff, you're going to want relentless focus. This is going to give you 8% extra damage. Definitely going to need that. On top of that, you might need to use blur, double take, because you're not going to be dodging everything. So you might want to have this just to mitigate a little bit more damage than what you're currently using. Of course, we're going to be using Soul Harvest for more ultimate while we're actually killing people. This is going to be on your main front bar. Gives you extra ultimate when you kill opponents or NPCs. So if it's on your front bar and you have your AoE ultimate on your back bar, you can swap to your AoE ultimate, cast that, swap back, and start building up ultimate. We're going to be using, you could use Consume Darkness, you could use Veil of Blades, or if you want, you can also use Soul Tether for your AoE ultimate. Both of those work, and so does Meteor. If you really want to go with Meteor, you can also go with Meteor. Concealed Weapon for just single target DPS. Even though we are AoE grinding, sometimes you'll have like 1 or 2 mobs left, and you're better off just, grinding them down with Concealed Weapon instead of spamming AoEs. That's all you really need over here. You're going to want all the passes, of course. You're always going to want all the passes that are going to help you. Siphoning, this is where we get most of our AoE from. So, all the passes on Siphoning as well. Now, Drain Power, we're going to morph it into Sap Essence. The reason this build works really efficiently is because Sap Essence is giving you health back. It's also increasing your major sorcery, so you don't have to use a spell power buff. So that's going to heal you and hit your opponents. And then Siphoning Strikes is going to return your stamina and Magicka back. So it's self-sufficient because Sap Essence is giving you health back. Siphoning Attacks is going to give you Magicka and stamina back. So that's where you get your resource control from. You're going to want Siphoning Attacks on both your bars, of course. You want Sap Essence on your main bar, Concealed Weapon on your main bar as well. Let's go into Dual Wield. Dual Wield, none of the passes you're going to need except Twin Blade and Blunt. Each sword increases the damage of your weapon attacks by 1.5%. That gets up to 5%, no, 2.5%, so each sword's going to add up to 5%. People are confused about this passive. It says weapon attacks, but it actually applies to all your attacks while you're using that weapon. I don't know if this is intended or not, but this is going to give you a 5% extra DPS boost, so you might as well use it. Now for Resto, of course, all the passives on Resto. You might need Healing Ward. I do recommend you at least have it just in case you get hit really hard, you're pulling too many mobs, you need that extra shield. Put that over here. And now we're going to go into our light armor. You might not need, you probably won't need Harness Magicka, but you're going to want all the light armor passives, of course. Nothing needed here. Fighter's Guild. This is really important because Banish the Wicked gives you ultimate when you're killing Daedra and Undead, and a lot of times the grinding spots are dealing with Daedra and Undead. This is going to give you more ultimate gain. Slayer is going to allow you to hit harder, and Skill Tracker just in case you're grinding werewolves for whatever reason. Now, over here, we're going to go with Inner Light. This is going to give you increased max Magicka and increased spell crit. That's really important. We're going to activate all the passives for Mage Guild. Of course, you can use Ice Common as well if you really want to for AoE. but we're not going to be doing that for this build video. Assault, this doesn't really matter, but I'm going to fill it in anyways, just because I'll be PvPing after this. If you have Emperor passives as well, that will help. And I guess that's it when it comes to passives. Besides your ratios, I'm an Imperial. Of course, for Magicka Nightblade, I think most of my builds, High Elf would be better. Some builds, Imperial would be better. Breton also works. Dark Elf also works. So that's it for that. Let me finish up the slotting the abilities. You want Inner Light on both bars, of course, so you don't have to reactivate it. You want Relentless Focus on your buff bar, and then Assassination. Actually, this is good. This is good. So you want Soul Harvest over here, Inner Light over here, Relentless Focus right there, and you're gonna want an ability so that you can pull mobs to you. You can use your Resto staff if you want to, but you don't have to. If you want to, you can put Swallow Soul for more healing. That also works. And I think that's really all that's needed. Everything else on this setup is just filler at this point. So everything else with this setup is just filler. So if you want to put Swallow Soul for more healing, you can do that. And on your back bar, if you want, you can put let's just say, really it doesn't matter what you put. I'm just gonna put Cloak just so I can have the option to cleanse if I need to cleanse. But that's it's a pretty simple setup, because you don't really need too much abilities. You don't really need it basically comes down to siphoning attacks and then sap essence for damage. We're putting all our points into Magicka, of course. That's just how I like to use my Magicka builds. We go really glassy, go a lot of damage. We're going to be using food buffs for increased damage. Our region's going to be really low, but that's not a problem. You got to remember, a lot of the region is coming from your siphoning attacks. I haven't changed up my champion system, so we're gonna go into that real quick. Redistribute. Oops. Clear points. Okay, so you're gonna want reduced costs on your spells. That's really important. You're also gonna want a lot of Magicka recovery with this setup, because you're gonna be lacking Magicka recovery. So I'm gonna put about 40 points into that. A few points into stamina recovery. That's really important. Now, for PvP actually, I do put a lot of points into tumbling, even as a Magicka Nightblade. But you're not gonna need to do that. You can put the rest of your points here, maybe into Magicka recovery, and then maybe a couple more into stamina recovery, and that's how I like to balance it out over there. Over here, you're not using any elemental damage. You're gonna want increased crit damage, so I put a lot of points into increasing my crit damage. 1 point to spell erosion for now. You don't need to increase your healing. That's fine. Nothing over here. This you want to max it out with as many points as you can. That's gonna give you extra magic damage, and we can put 40 into crit. A few more into that. You just want to balance it to where it's just, because there's not a lot of options when it comes to this setup, because we're not using any of our weapon attacks, so it doesn't really matter. So this is the setup I like to go with. A lot of magic damage, a lot of extra crit damage. Resistance to critical attacks is really important. Spell resist isn't really important in light armor, block, medium, that doesn't really matter. Hardy is important. Soul's Elemental Defender. Thick-skinned. You never really want to invest too much into what's it called, damage over time, because as a Nightblade, you remove most of the damage over time. You remove most of it, so you can just cloak it off. You don't really need to invest into that. So we'll put more points into here, and then the rest I'm gonna put into Bastion just to increase my shields. That's mainly for PvP, but I'm gonna be PvPing after this. The chat is mentioning that I did forget something, guys, and you guys are right. Instead of Cloak, you can also put Double Take. That's gonna just give you more survivability while you're AoEing down the mob. So shout out to the subscribers in the chat for mentioning that. So let's go do some just some test runs with this. I'm gonna go to Craglorn. I don't want to reveal grinding spots on video or on stream. just because if I reveal them, then they're no longer going to be grinding spots. Everyone's going to be there, and it's just not going to be fun. So I'm going to Kraglin. Kraglin right now, it's not the best grinding spot. They're going to buff it in the next patch by 20%, so I don't know if it's still going to be good or not, but we'll see. The only reason I'm coming here just so I can show you the capabilities that this build has when it comes to AoE grinding. So you're going to want Mage Light on at all times. We're going to go find the mobs over here. Let me see. This is Spell Scar, by the way, if you do not know. Okay, so you're going to pull some mobs. You can pull them with your Resto Staff or with Swallow Soul. I prefer to pull them with Swallow Soul. That way I can actually get heals while I'm pulling these mobs. So I'm going to buff myself up with Relentless Focus and start sapping. I'm going to activate my ultimate, continue sapping. Activate my ultimate again. You see how fast that ultimate comes back up because of your passes? So that's how it's done, guys. You do a lot of damage. My resources were basically untouched because of siphoning attacks. And you're good to go. If you guys want to take a look at the character sheet real quick, this is how it looks like. And I guess that's it for the build video. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to comment below with your questions, and I'll get to you guys when I get the chance. So by the way, if you see me, I was using the Warrior Munda Stone. That's never a good idea for Magicka build. I just respect that of stamina. You're going to want to use the Atronach for this setup. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I'll have this posted on my website, and I'll list the sets over there. Some sets that you can use. I'll list other abilities you can use. So thank you guys so much, and I'll see you guys soon. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more ESO content. Peace out.